Somehow we have another Saturday Night's main event this weekend. The other one only felt like it happened yesterday, but you know the deal. We put our brains together. Please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop me a comment below. Let me know your predictions. Because that's right, we are going to guess what's going to happen at Saturday Night's main event. So let's just start with the big one, because why the flub not? It is going to be Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. I had an epiphany the other day when I realised, wait a minute, this is exactly what we did with Jey Uso last year when we got to Backlash. And that's both a good thing or a bad thing, because listen, keeping him in the main event scene, given that he is main event Jey Uso, is only going to help his aura, his cinema, his character, and his persona, even though he's quite clearly going to lose here. I mean, it wouldn't even make sense if he did win, and I love Jey Uso, and I want to be his best friend, as I always say, but sometimes the timing just isn't right, and given that the Royal Rumble is just around the corner, and given that WrestleMania is in like 3 months or whatever it is, it's not the time to take the belt off Gunther. Now, actually, if you had come to me in a different universe and said, oh my gosh, Jey Uso could win that title for even a few days, when you did the rematch at Royal Rumble, maybe that's a little bit too much, but I wouldn't have minded, but let's not forget, that's exactly what we did with the Intercontinental title in Jey Uso, and if you overcook the pudding, eventually it's going to be burnt. We don't want to do that, but it's a good opportunity for him just to show that he can hang, I suppose. Again, the Damian Priest match was good. The Braun Breaker IC champion stuff was good. I'm just trying to think of the biggest positions he has been in, especially following WrestleMania 40, that people still talk about. I did go back and watch Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso at one point. I certainly think it's disappointing from what the expectations were, but I do not think it's as bad as some people have now made out. That has kind of taken on a life of its own. But put in a bunch of good near falls here, sell it to hopefully the new audience the WWE is hoping to get in, because they are on network TV. Just make sure they have a barrel of laughs. And again, even if this opened the show, I don't think it would be the worst idea in the world, because it would have been the first thing you see is Jey Uso coming to the ring. Whether you like it, you don't like it, you like Jey Uso, you don't like Jey Uso, you want to give Gunther a big old kiss, that Jey Uso entrance is massive. And if you were brand new to wrestling and you saw that, your brain and your body would be like, oh my gosh, I think I should care about this guy, because one, look how crazy everyone is going, and two, maybe I should go to a WWE event because I want to be involved. And let's not forget, that's the bottom line. The whole point of all of this is to get more people watching on TV and to get more people through the door and put those butts in those seats. So I like it as a match. I think it maybe feels a little bit underwhelming just because, like a couple of matches on this show, it was a bit like, would you like to fight, my good sir? Well, that sounds absolutely fantastic. But at the same time, you got to have some matches, and this is so soon to the Royal Rumble. It was always going to be a little wibbly wobbly. Gunther's going to win. I think it'll be a barrel of fun. Now, we're also getting Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. My gosh, am I excited about this. It does not need to go more than 8 minutes long. They should just run at each other and go totally crazy. Jacob Fatu needs to do at least 2 nuts moves on Braun when we're like, oh my gosh, how did he do that? And Jacob Fatu needs to win. Listen, I don't know what world we're living in right now. I don't know what the sort of lay of the land is with Braun Strowman. And I like him. I think he's had a great WWE career. But it does kind of feel like he's on that side of his run where he's not going to be the world champion. And I doubt he's ever going to get another super duper whooper push, whereas Jacob is on completely the other end. And he's right in line for that. If you wanted to do a Goldberg Brock Lesnar here, this bald idiot wouldn't be complaining. That really is just because 2025 is the year of Jacob Fatu. He should probably win the US Championship at WrestleMania. He can beat an LA Knight or whoever it is. And in fact, I think LA Knight is probably the best bet because LA Knight is a superstar. And when you a superstar and you beat a superstar, it's like Kirby. You absorb some of their powers, and it should all start here. This should be Jacob Fatu's road to the Royal Rumble. He beats Braun Strowman. Again, if you want to do it in 3 minutes, totally cool. He goes on to the Royal Rumble where he has the Iron Man match. He should probably throw out at least 7 people, to say the least. Then you can get into some stuff with Roman Reigns, whatever the flub it's going to be. Eventually he starts feuding with LA Knight, wins that US Championship, and then he just flies for the rest of 2025, and that rhymes a little bit, so it must be true. But in no world, as I keep using that phrase, should Braun Strowman win this. He doesn't gain anything, and you take so much away from Jacob Fatu. And also, I actually think you'd be skirting on the line of pissing some fans off, because even though Fatu is presented as a heel, some people are just too good, and he certainly is in that category. That promo he cut on SmackDown, he didn't actually say anything, but it was the way he said it. It's like that classic argument you have with your partner. It's not what you said, it's the way you said it. That's what Jacob Fatu is, so I'm telling you, he is now your loved one. But I don't even have anything else to say about it. I think WWE, the new WWE, are pretty damn smart. They will know that people are excited about this because big men slapping man meat. So I don't know how you would do this. I don't know what Jacob Fatu is or isn't capable of. Please let me see that pop-up Samoan drop. onto Braun Strowman. Even a version of it would be awesome. And of course, he can hit the big moonsault. No problem there. And I don't want this to be the kind of thing when Braun does get 1, 2, 3 and ends up again. I want him to be like, just laying there like I'm completely dead. I cannot move. I've just had my ass whooped. Then Jacob Fatu should come out and smack down with his crazy eyes and do his thing. So arguably, there is 5 announced portions of stuff for the evening at the moment. This is probably my most anticipated, and I am putting all my power behind Jacob Fatu. We've also got Braun Breaker versus Sheamus, which is actually, if you do these two back to back, they should all be backstage going, who can outman me each other? Sheamus has been doing the interview rounds recently. He is so great to listen to. He just wants to have the most hard-hitting matches ever, but not in an old-school veteran way. He wants his opponents to hit him even harder back, and if they don't, it's like, what are you doing? You need to punch me. I think there's a great story out there from before WrestleMania 32, when Mick Foley and Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels came out, and Sheamus went to Mick Foley and said, Mick, just hit me as hard as you can. This is when Foley wasn't allowed to take any offense back, so it was just him beating up Sheamus. And Mick was like, no, I'm good enough. I can make it look like it hurts without hurting you. Sheamus was like, hurt me, man. So he's totally flubbed up, but he's brilliant. Braun Breaker is in the same position as a Jacob Fatu, although he already has his IC championship, but those two should clash at WrestleMania one day. Not this year, well, maybe you could do it this year, but I would imagine 2026 just to really plant those seeds. There are 2 things you can do. Sheamus winning here would not be the worst thing in the world. I think Braun Breaker is so good, he can handle anything. And I think they're going to give him the stories in order to facilitate that. But I just think if you are going to have Sheamus finally win the Intercontinental Championship, which is the story here, this should be his final loss. He's dejected, he's sad, he doesn't know what to do. Maybe he vanishes from Raw for a little while. Actually, maybe that's not, I can retract that. I said this the other day. Sheamus could even enter the Raw Rumble. He's not going to win the Raw Rumble, right? It's just not his time, which is totally fine. But he can add a little bit of a side quest in there, a little bit of a subplot in there, and be like, listen, I know the winner of the main event gets to go after the World Championship, but I'm doing it differently. I'm going to use that power. Maybe I'll even trade it in for an IC shot, and that's it. It's my last dance, my last shot of the game, and if I can't do it, I'll walk away from that championship for good. Now, obviously, he doesn't win that Raw Rumble. That's when he really pushes hard to say, listen, Braun Breaker, give me one more chance. Braun Breaker does give him one more chance, get to WrestleMania 41. They'll have a banger again, as they always do. Then Sheamus can be the Intercontinental Champion. So I don't want Braun Breaker to run through him here, because one, I want to see them have a fight. I've seen it before. It's always brilliant. And again, I'd like to keep that reserved for Jacob versus Braun. I just would. But if you can come up with a bunch of near falls here that really drag the crowd in, and I think there's enough jeopardy that you're able to pull that off, and you almost make them frustrated that Braun Breaker won, I just think that would benefit everybody here. And then again, we've got this story hanging in the background that we can lean on. So I am going to go with Braun Breaker, but this one I think has so much potential to actually grow into something better. It could also start the show because again, they're just going to go each other like wolves and it'll be absolutely nuts. But I'm not bored of it. And I don't think I'm going to be bored of it after this either, because I suppose it's like watching a real scrap. When you see a real scrap, oh man, this is so cool. And obviously only some people in wrestling get away with that. It depends on your character and what you're able to do in the ring. But I will lean on the side of Braun Breaker, but I think the feud continues. And again, Sheamus, he just signed a brand new 5-new deal, but he will start winding down eventually. Give it to him now. He can have a short run. He can even drop it back to Braun Breaker, and then he can just be the guy. He's even said this again in those interviews, that feuds with the new guys, they beat him up, he beats them up, and they all benefit from working with a star like Sheamus. And I'm massively happy he is getting his flowers now, because he's always been great. And I don't even think it was a bad idea when he beat John Cena in 2009. Sometimes you should look at a guy and go, let's do something different. Otherwise, wrestling does get a bit boring. And we'll move to the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and I suppose Shawn Michaels contract addendum signing after this. I don't know what this addendum is going to be. They are going to take both the belts off them, which is nice and early. I suppose you want to hang them above the air in Indianapolis. Why wouldn't you need 10 days, or a week, I should say? What could it even possibly be? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's going to be Kevin Owens can never challenge it for again, but that sucks. It can't be anything like, a DQ or a count out, because it's a ladder match and the whole point is it's meant to be carnage. I honestly have no idea. I've been sat there for ages going, what can we do? And I've got nothing, which is kind of crap for a predictions video. But this is why I need your help, man. You've got to drop me a comment below and let me know in what direction you're going to head. I suppose it could be no outside interference, given that they are always getting involved. And of course, Kevin Owens talked to Sami Zayn. And that may be an interesting trinket, but at the same time, then you take away the jeopardy from the evening itself. Because I think Sami Zayn probably should be involved at the Raw Rumble, even if he comes out just to watch. It'd be a bit crap, but he needs to be the sword of Damocles. What's he going to do? What's he not going to do? We're not going to turn Sami Zayn heel. He's not going to help Cody Rhodes. But I do think we should start heading in the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn direction right now. So anytime these two guys can interact, I think it would be interesting. And again, it's a ladder match in WWE at the Royal Rumble. Obviously, it's going to be filled with shenanigans. I suppose that addendum could be something like no package power drivers, because that's what Kevin Owens did and keeps trying to do. He tried it on Rey Mysterio, whereas Cody Rhodes is meant to be a bit unhinged at the moment, so maybe he's thinking about doing it too. Or it could be something lame like, we're not allowed to touch each other before the Royal Rumble, which would be dumb because only one more SmackDown before we do get there, and you'd be fine having a big brawl. Obviously, something is going to happen to Shawn Michaels. I think it could be the package power driver thing. I don't know what kind of shape Michaels is in, but he looks like he's in fantastic shape, especially for his age. So maybe Nick Aldis says, listen, the package power driver is banned. You can't do it here. You can't do it there. You definitely can't do it at the Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens does sign it, or he's about to sign it, and then Shawn Michaels gets hit with a package power driver. Then he signs it, and that's the last one we see. It would be very effective. Getting Shawn Michaels involved like that would absolutely up the ante. So you could do that, but we are absolutely... I tell you why I like doing this, because in the first Saturday Night's main event, it was just match. Totally cool. Wrestling's about matches. But given that this is a television show, and I suppose you want people to tune into SmackDown and Raw, as well as sell the pay-per-view, PLE, that if you have a Raw/SmackDown type television segment, maybe more people will be interested in that, and that will be a good thing. I don't know, but I will just say that, and it will end with Cody Rhodes tending over Shawn Michaels as Kevin Owens is like, ha 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 ha, and maybe then Sami Zayn does come out and say, I could never help you, my friend, because you're a terrible person. And I imagine that Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax will probably main event, or it could be Jey Uso versus Gunther. Either is fine. I just like to do something different here, and it's always good when you can put women in that position to prove they can smash it. Once again, it does lack jeopardy, which is a massive shame. In no world are we going to take the belt off Rhea Ripley. That would be stupid, because she only won it 3 weeks ago. And yes, I talked about some ups and downs of What Culture. Make sure you subscribe to them too. This is also a little bit like, can I have a title shot, please? Yes. And it's even more crazy with Nia, because Nia should be going after Tiffany Stratton, which we will do after this. She's getting title shots all over the place. But also, she kind of like just walked into this for no reason. Why is she even on Raw? The transfer window. Okay, well, why don't more people turn up? I don't mind it, because I think Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax work really well together. But we did see this a lot, basically almost a year ago, as we were leading into the 2024 Elimination Chamber. So it would just be good to separate them now, so we can do something a little bit different. However, you do want to have a big women's match on the card. Of course you do. Rhea Ripley should be showcased. In the last one, she just came out and waved at Liv Morgan, basically. Let them do what they always do. It's kind of cool, because you have Rhea Ripley, who's a powerhouse, but Nia Jax, who is a bigger powerhouse, so you can basically do, I don't know, Andre versus Hogan, essentially. Hogan's probably going to be on this show. No, I don't want that. I've talked about it, but I'm not going to talk about it again. But there is absolutely a positive side to this. And the reason I would like it to main event, it would be cool if it went off air, Rhea Ripley with the belt, pew, 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 all the fireworks coming off, and then maybe you can have Becky Lynch walk out there as well. And you can do that feud pre-WrestleMania before they go off on their separate ways. You can even build it up to the Royal Rumble. Seems a bit crazy, seems a bit, we don't have any build here. But then you can also argue they did fight at WrestleMania 2024, so maybe that can be your build, right? Maybe that can 100% be your build, and Becky Lynch wants one last shot at it because she did lose at WrestleMania 40. So on paper, I think it's going to be fun. Hopefully it doesn't go more than 2 hours. I'm pretty sure it is set for 2 hours because it is a television show. Doesn't feel as exciting as the first one, but maybe that's just the way of life. Retro it up. I hope Jesse Ventura is back on it. Give me that music. Give me the over-top voiceover, and we'll probably have a good old time. Now, like I say, please do let me know your predictions in the comments below. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the notification bell. Otherwise, there's a bunch of stuff going on right now. If you go to grillermind.com/Simon, you just go to Simon. Not only do you get 10% off everything, but there is mega sales on pre-workout right now, and that's the reason I fell in love with Griller Mind to begin with, because no one has better pre-workout than them. Otherwise, my friends, I appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy Saturday night's main event, and I'll talk to you again soon.